The Polyglot Gathering is brought to you by italki. Become fluent in any language.
I'm a very complicated person. You cannot tell where I'm from or anything about me just by looking at my name. My full name is Fiel Sahir. 3 different languages in one go. Fiel from the Spanish word for faithful. Mahatma from Sanskrit meaning great soul. Up to you to decide. And Sahir, depending on the way it's pronounced, can either mean magician, night owl, or artist. The problem is, we don't know how it's written. And that's a story I'll tell later. I was born in Portland, Oregon, to 2 lovely Indonesian immigrant parents. And like nearly 99% of Indonesian children and immigrants to the United States in general, we do not pick up the language of our parents because we are embarrassed. And when we get to school, we want to fit in. Our lunch boxes do not help because they have rice and other things in it, right? Unfortunately, that is the case. And in 1997, because my dad was suffering with cirrhosis of the liver, amongst other things, we as a family packed up our bags and went to somewhere that is not Portland, Oregon. And that's me over there. And I was not a happy camper. Something psychologically within me snapped. And I refused to speak to anyone that didn't speak English. I was a little brat racist, right? Fun. So, that was when I was 5. And I spoke to my parents, my sister, and my grandmother simply because they spoke English. If you spoke Indonesian to me, I would be quiet, sit in a corner, and motion with my hands, and I would say good luck to you to figure out what I was trying to say. Unfortunate, right? And I went to a public school in Indonesia. Things didn't go so well. I didn't pick up the language like most kids do when they go. I was missing home. I was having total homesickness. And a gracious relative decided, hey, why don't we bring him to an international school where things might be better for him, where they speak English? We went, and the kids said, teacher, why is English so funny? Which is ironic, because I'm the American, but I had the bad English. Anyone remember this? Has anyone seen the movie The Goonies? The Goonies. Any Americans? Okay. So, this is Cannon Beach, Oregon. Changed my life. So we were coming home from a family trip. Me and my sister, a couple of family friends, and my parents. And the whole ride, they were cracking jokes. I didn't understand anything because I was young and didn't want to learn Indonesian. But my dad translated a few of the jokes, but the problem was there was too many. So he ran out of breath and, oh, good luck. Okay, so we were really bored the whole car ride, me and my sister and I, up to you. And then I decided, you know, I'm really bored. I think I want to laugh. I really want to laugh. So then I told myself, I'm going to learn Indonesian. I was 11 at the time, and I still did not speak. But then the car ride changed my life, right? Back in Portland. For those of you that are wondering why I say Portland, when I say I'm from New York in my bio, it's because I moved there during a time that was much more formative in my life than Portland. So, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, e pluribus unum. Unity and diversity, out of the many one. One and the same thing. And where does that converge? Indonesia. According to Bill Little, professor at Ohio State University, Indonesia is the most important country you have never heard of. That is Indonesia. Indonesia is an archipelago, the largest in the world, with 17,000 islands plus. And we border Malaysia, East Timor, Papua New Guinea. And this to there is longer than the United States, continental, not Alaska. That's a huge amount of land. We have over 300 different ethnic groups, thousands of dialects, and 700 spoken languages daily. You can imagine how much fun that is. And polyglot heaven. And so, my parents are from Jakarta and Bandung respectively. And we have the 4th largest population in the world after the United States, 250 plus million, and the world's largest Muslim population in the world. So the average Muslim looks like people from here or the Philippines. This is a picture of me and my first niece, Abby. Does anyone remember what was going on in Indonesia and around the area last year, around September, October, that was really devastating to the rest of Asia? No, the Southeast Asian haze. People were cutting down trees, smog, slash and burn, in order to make room for farming. And when you're poor, you have no choice. And you can only guess what happened. That is my 3-year-old niece celebrating her 3rd birthday. No 3-year-old should have to celebrate her birthday with a face mask on, right? But this is where you come in. Indonesia needs you to save not just people like my niece, but also animals that we all know and love, like elephants, rhinos, tigers, proboscis monkeys, Komodo dragons, the orangutan, which we pronounce orang utan, very different from the way we say in English. The bird of paradise, both the flower and the bird. We need you. A lot of you may be wondering, am I a fraud because my last name is Sahir, but this is my face, right? I'm Chinese descent. That's my Chinese name. And my ancestors immigrated from China about 120 some years ago. We don't know because we don't have records, unfortunately. Indonesian government did not care. And in an attempt to assimilate and unite the people, but most importantly discriminate against us, we were forced to do a lot of things, such as the banning of Chinese culture in 1967. Chinese and all forms of culture were banned until 2001. Can you imagine? That was only 15 years ago. And so no Chinese New Year, no red envelopes, if you guys know what that means. It's the money. And no Chinese last names. And calligraphy, that was black market. Can you imagine? They could have went to China, just bought a few things, brought it to Indonesia, made millions of bucks, Going on. So, Indonesians, a lot of us have different last names than what our faces would make you guess. So for instance, on my mother's side, her last name is Cristanto. Inside Cristanto is the Chinese last name Tan in English. On one of my cousins, his family name is Ongko Wijaya, holding Chinese last name Ng or Ong. Things like that. And the most recent culmination of events was in 1998. When, ever since we arrived in Indonesia, the Chinese tensions have always been there, right? Whether it be racial, religious, or socioeconomic. Understandable. Wherever you have two different groups of people, there will always be conflict. We're human. But, as I was saying, things escalated. What started off as a student riot quickly escalated into the burning of businesses and the raping and killing of many people, unfortunately. I was there at the time. In 1998, May. And I remember us being gathered by our parents to go to a family friend's house, and the kids were upstairs, the mothers were downstairs praying and crying, of course, and the men were all outside, already part of the local militia, just waiting to see what would happen. And this happened for 3 days. A mob did come to our town, but they decided not to attack us, but instead loot our mall, thank goodness, if not, I would not be here. But now things are much, much better. Yeah, so what keeps us going? What keeps us going? Even though there's all this strife that we may feel, it's our faith and our love for other people. We know that regardless of what they've done to us and what can be done to us, we weren't the only, I wasn't even a victim, close, but there's thousands of other people that were attacked not just because of their race, but because of their religion. And this is normal, and still happens today. Indonesia needs you. A picture of a child that I saw in the middle of Indonesia just playing with garbage on the street. A normal sight. Those boys over there, they're waiting for people to throw coins off the ship for them to catch. Not even a few cents. But it's enough for them to go to high school and pay for it by swimming. Those babies you see, cute, right? Guess what? They're drugged and rented to these people in order to earn money. But this is where you come in. You make a difference. Indonesia needs educators. Indonesia needs teachers. Indonesia needs people that are willing to change the world and teach them about the world. Teach them about the world around them, teach them about the people around them. Because they know Indonesia is not the only country. They love America, they love Korea. But they got to learn about their own country. And that's where you come in. Because you guys usually have a more higher interest than they do, oddly enough. Just like me, being born American, I'm more interested in Indonesian than Indonesian sometimes. It happens. Anyways, on to the fun stuff. This is a family photo of the Indonesian dress. I am wearing what's called a batik. A lot of you have maybe heard it in African places as batik. Wrong, sorry. It's batik. And that's how we usually will look. And here's a dress of 4 other ethnic groups of the 300 ethnic groups. You can only imagine how much diversity we have. That is the family of the Sultan Hamengkubuwono of Yogyakarta, who is also the governor of his special region, which is really cool. A marriage between a monarchy and modern government. And so he's wearing typical Javanese clothing, Java, the island of Java. And then here's people wearing, or lack thereof, Papua New Guinea clothing. Asmat clothing from Papua, not Papua New Guinea, our part of the island. And then we have people from here. Can anyone guess where this is? Has anyone been to Bali? Here. Anyone been to Bali? Yeah? Did you know that it was not an independent country and is a part of Indonesia? A lot of Australians tell me, I love Bali, I've never been to Indonesia. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. So Balinese are the Hindus of Indonesia, essentially. And we have the people, the Dayak people of Kalimantan, which you guys know as Borneo. Very diverse, and that's only 4 of the 300 ethnic groups. Food, right? Everyone loves food. And who was there at the restaurant yesterday? Raise your hands. You can definitely attest how good Indonesian food is. It is underrated. Yes, it's amazing. This is a dish called beef rendang. We don't say beef, we say rendang. A lot of people will say rendang. So what it is it's a beef curry dish. And it was very popular by pirates and sailors because it could be preserved for very long times. But it also takes a very long time to cook. You boil it until the curry no longer is in stew, but it's all in the beef, and so the flavor is just, you can imagine. Nasi goreng, fried rice, one of our staple dishes. Of course, satay. S-A-T-E. If you go to Malaysia, it's spelled with A-Y at the end. And we have gado-gado, which means mix. Can you guys say gado-gado? Gado-gado. It's probably our best vegetarian dish, and it is because we have tempeh in it. Mung beans, string beans, kerupuk, which is like a cross between chips and crackers. It's its own category, but don't know how to explain it. And of course, the one thing the government of Indonesia could not ban from Chinese culture was the food because it was too good. Porridge, right? You can get this at any dim sum restaurant. Kueh tiao, which is flat noodles with chicken. I know I'm making your mouth water, but there is a good Indonesian place that we can recommend you afterwards. Bapao, pork steam buns. And bakso, which is meatballs in noodle soup. It sounds really simple, but it is to die for. And of course, our desserts. Indonesia is a majority Muslim country, which means drinking is not allowed. But what that does, gives us creativity. And so we have decided to make bubble tea on steroids, if you guys know what bubble tea is. Lots of fruit, jackfruit, a grass jelly, everything jelly I can't even describe because there's just too much going on. And for those of you that were there yesterday, I'm sure you heavily enjoyed it. So, on to the language aspect, because that's what you're all here for, right? Indonesia is much more than easy. There's a lot of stereotypes going on in the polyglot world, but no Indonesians to explain it. And Indonesians will usually, in general, very much agree with you in order to avoid conflicts. It's a cultural thing. And so Indonesia is an Austronesian language, which includes the languages of the Philippines, of Madagascar, oddly enough, even Easter Island, and yeah, it was the lingua franca of the archipelago for centuries because of empires such as the Majapahit Empire and the Srivijaya Empire, which spread. And okay, it was made by nationalists in order to loosen Dutch power. The Dutch did not really colonize us as well as other countries. Well, quote unquote. So that's why nobody actually speaks Dutch in Indonesia anymore, because they kept it for the bourgeois. They kept it for the high class. And if you spoke it, that meant you were someone. It is somewhat mutually intelligible with Malay, depending on who you're talking to. Accents differ and word choices differ heavily. And yesterday I was talking with a Malay guy who is here, and it worked, which is great, surprising. But Bahasa Indonesia, not Bahasa. If you can go home for me and tell your friends that it is not called Bahasa, that would be very much appreciated. Because Bahasa means language. You never go to someone and say, do you speak Hua? When you say, do you speak Mandarin? Doesn't work. You don't say to someone, do you speak Long? If you want to say, do you speak French? Also doesn't work. And guess what? Bahasa has a lot of cognates in other languages, like Boso Jowo, which is the language of Java, parts of Java, or Bahasa Sunda. So Bahasa is actually a Sanskrit word. But a lot of people like to use that word to refer to Indonesian because we in Southeast Asia are too lazy to say the whole thing, right? It's just, we love to cut things in half. And there are two divisions of Indonesian. There is Bahasa Sehari-hari, which means daily Indonesian, which is really important that we learn because it's what will not make you seem like a foreigner. And Bahasa Baku, which is more for the media and for meetings and official things. So when we as a family gather, we talk in Bahasa Sehari-hari, and that's what I speak. And Bahasa Baku is more when you're doing official religious gatherings or gatherings in general, where you have more of an official vibe to it. Basic phrases. I know some of you were at the Indonesian course. Who was there? Wasn't it great? Give a hand for Maria. Yeah. So, doesn't matter what religion you are, Indonesia is a majority Muslim country. And when you greet people, it is customary to say, Assalamualaikum, and respond with, Walaikum salam. Can we do that? Assalamualaikum. Yeah. So that is Arabic, which means peace be with you, and the response is peace be with you. Same with shalom, shalom aleichem, right? Very important, very important, very important. And it's respectful. Who doesn't want to win brownie points with a new person you've just met? It's always the best way. But most Indonesians, when we meet each other, we will say, Halo, from Dutch, apa kabar, which means, how are you? What news? Right? So can we try that? Halo. No. Apa kabar? Yeah. Apa kabar? So, apa kabar? Stresses in Indonesia are usually on the first syllable. And the response is, baik, baik. The two over there means it repeats. I should have changed that. But in slang, when we type, we always put a two because a lot of things are repeated in Indonesian. So, baik, baik. Can you say that? Baik. The K is not pronounced, it's a glottal. And we can also say sehat, which means healthy. Can you try that? And it always is a good thing to praise God and say Alhamdulillah. So, sehat Alhamdulillah. Can we try that? Alhamdulillah, which means praise God or thank God. And selamat siang. So selamat, a lot of us know that as a word, and we use it when we meet Indonesian people for the first time and get excited, right? When we're like, oh, I'm learning Indonesian. That's the word that everyone pulls out. So selamat is a word that is used to wish someone something. Whether it be good morning, selamat pagi, or selamat makan, bon appetit, or selamat tidur, schlaf gut, selamat jalan, have a safe trip, selamat ulang tahun, happy birthday. Now all of these you can learn online, you can learn with Maria, you can learn in many other places. And yeah, so two more. Siapa namanya is who's your name, basically. So if you ask someone what your name is siapa namanya? Da 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 da. Try that. Yeah, and then you answer with nama saya. Yeah. Name I or name me. Indonesian is very fun, simple, and if you translate it to English word for word, it sounds like Tarzan. It's fun. And so, asalnya dari mana? Where are you from? Asalnya dari mana? Saya dari Chicago, dari Amerika, whatever, France, Prancis. So, you may notice that a little bit of what I'm teaching here is a bit different from Maria. It's not because it's wrong or hers is wrong or mine is wrong, it's just that it depends on the context of what you're saying. But Indonesian is a sponge. That's the great thing about this language, is that it is constantly absorbing words from other languages and has been since its inception. Mainly Sanskrit. Does anyone know? You've heard of Sanskrit. You know what it is. It's the Latin of basically Asia. Right? The subcontinent and Southeast Asia, really. And so we have very important words from Sanskrit that if we did not have, we could not function, such as a word for bahasa, language, right? Agama, religion. Guru, teacher. Gajah, elephant. Can you imagine without elephants? Right? Jiwa, soul. Rasa, taste or feeling. Raja, king. You need all those words. Suka, like, which we learned today in class. Warna, color. These are all very important. And I noticed that these were Cognates, because I actually took a class in college about Indian music, and so they actually use the word rasa and other things to get the feel of the rag, if you know about Indian music at all. Another language that is very important that you guys all know about, which we had some phrases before, is Arabic, right? We also have very important words that we cannot function daily without, such as akhir, the end of something, or halal, haram, lawful or unlawful, right? You'll see those on food packets all the time throughout the Muslim world, halal food, to make sure that it's lawful to eat, because you don't want to sin. For instance, ma'af, which means sorry, malaikat, angel, masjid, mosque, sorry. Pikir, think, and the days of the week, Senin, Selasa, Rabu, Kamis, Jumat. Now, if you speak Arabic, those do not sound anything like the original Arabic, because in Indonesian, when we take things, we make it ours, literally, right? We have Chinese words from my ancestors, mainly from Hokkien and Hakka. So not much Mandarin, but you can read the characters there. These are mainly food words, and Angpao is like red envelopes. Then you have words like hoki, which we use just for fun, like I was hoki today, which means I was lucky. Koko for like older brother, things like that. Chinese did not have that big of an influence as it did in Malaysia, for instance, because Malaysia did not ban Chinese culture. In fact, it let it thrive to the point where Chinese Malaysians do not speak Malay because they don't have to. They learn English in school. Portuguese, right? The Portuguese gave us a word for our real colonizers, the Dutch, Belanda. Interestingly enough, you think the Dutch would give us that. We have the word bandera, flag, boneca, doll, gereja, church, got, which means sewer. If you speak Portuguese, you are very confused right now because the words have completely changed, right? Igreja became greja, and I forgot what the word for sewer was. Can somebody tell me what it is in Portuguese? No? But we cut the front and the last syllable. I just forgot what the word was. Queijo, cheese. Manteiga, butter. Everything about the kitchen. I agree, Portuguese food is amazing. Minggu, domingo, Sunday. Natal, Christmas, Sabtu, Saturday. The Dutch also came in, and they gave us quite a few words. But the thing is, a lot of the Indonesians do not actually know that a lot of these words are actually Dutch. Sometimes you have to tell them, and they go, oh yeah. Like om. People don't know that om is Dutch sometimes. And it's in Indonesia, it's spelled om. Om means uncle, for instance. So we have the word bioskop, which means theater. Buku, book, which you mentioned earlier, baca buku, right? Dada, which means goodbye. We don't have our own word for goodbye. Kartu, card, kantor, office. Mobile, car, sorry, card, car, yes. Polisi, police. Om, tante, oma, opa, which are really important. When you meet someone that is older than you, you do not address them by their first name, as is common in most Asian cultures, right? And the months of the year, obviously. And bahasa gaul. So bahasa gaul, gaul means cool, so cool language, but it means slang, really. So, and singkatan, which means abbreviations. So Indonesians, we love to invent new words and just play with words. We're constantly creating new words. Each time I meet an Indonesian, I always hear a new word that I've never heard before, or my cousins tell me new words, and then my older cousins say, oh, don't say that, that's you know, that's ridiculous, or the younger ones are like, why aren't you using it? So it's a constantly evolving language. For instance, bete, which means bad temper. It stands for bad temper. But Indonesians will tell you it means bad mood. Bad mood. Happens. Bule is the word for a white person, Caucasian person. We do not use the word bule for people that are not from European countries or America for some reason. It depends on the color of your skin, because apparently it originally comes from the word for albino in some language. So I am not bule, Maria is bule. It's not offensive. In fact, Indonesians love orang bule. When they see you, in, for instance, walking around Yogyakarta where Borobudur is, I have seen people ask, hey, can we take picture with you? And then there was these French people, and I was like, pardon, c'est ma culture. You know, it's like, what can you do? They love foreigners. They love foreigners. Yeah, Mr. Photo please, Mr. Cuci mata. When you go window shopping, you are washing your eyes. I love it. Chipiki chipika, which means kissing the right cheek, kissing the left cheek. So if you're French, this is a good phrase for you. Chipiki chipika. Cium pipi kiri, left. Cium pipi kanan, right. LDR. This is a fun one. It's actually English, and we use it, but not like that. So if you live in Germany and your girlfriend lives in the United States, what is it called? A long distance relationship. Indonesians say LDR or LDR if they're trying to be more American. But Americans will say long distance, will never say long distance relationship. Interesting. L4. How many of you are staying in dorm rooms with 8 people? That's an L4. L4 means lu lagi, you again, you again. It's when you get bored of the person. Indonesian humor is interesting. In Indonesian, anything can be funny. It's hard to explain. Mager. So earlier, Maria was wondering, what do I put next to the word malas? Malas means lazy, and gerak means move. So I'm lazy to move, mager. We decided to combine it because we were too lazy to say both words at the same time. So if you are a nyamuk, it's when you are with your friend and his girlfriend, and you're just there. Nyamuk means mosquito. You are not third wheeling, you are mosquitoing. PHP, it's when that girl that you like, you find out that she doesn't like you, but she led you on. Pemberi harapan palsu, a giver of false hopes. Who's had that? Me too. Oh, only me? Okay. Okay, if someone is sikon, that means it depends on the situation or the condition, situasi atau kondisi. So if someone, is this person coming tonight? Sikon. It depends on if he, orangnya sikon, it means the person will depend on if he did his homework or not, whatever. He's unreliable. Sosmed. Sosmed. If I put a C there, would anybody be able to guess what that is? SOCMED. Would anybody be able to guess? It's a combination of 2 English words. Social media, right, that's right. So, lo pakai sosmed nggak? Are you using social media? Yeah. So, Titi DJ. Hati-hati di jalan. So when we say, be safe, get home safe or whatever, hati-hati di jalan. Jalan means street. Hati-hati means take care, but literally it means liver. So you don't feel with your heart, you feel with your liver. In a lot of cultures, that's also common for some reason. So when you see an Indonesian and you're trying to be funny, just say liver, see if they get it. My personal favorite, you guys will love this, especially Mr. Momo over there. It's what you always have, a tongsis. Tongkat narcis. Tongkat means staff, narcis means narcissist. The staff of a narcissist. Selfie stick. And we never call it a selfie stick, we always call it a tongsis. Lu ada tongsis nggak? Do you have a tongsis? Yeah. Fun. Words English needs. There are a lot of those. So, if you have this kid that just cannot sit still, if you're in a meeting or whatever, cacingan, he's being like a worm. Curhat, when you are having a problem and you're just pouring it out to your friend, that's curhat. It's great. It's a great word. Curahan hati, the pouring out of the heart. We have words for doble doer, which means when your top lip is too big or your bottom lip is too big. Indonesians love to describe people by their facial features or their body features in general. So if someone has a flat nose, one of my cousins has that, they call her pesek for fun. It's not offensive. In Indonesian, it's not offensive. So for those of us from Western culture where calling names can be taboo, get used to it. Indonesian is fun. Gemes, it's when you see a baby and that feeling where you just go like this and want to squeeze them to death. That's called gemes. Hasut, it's when somebody is easily made to hate another. We all know somebody like that. You just tell them, hey, did you know what he ate yesterday? Isn't that horrible? Yeah, he's a horrible person. You know, things like that. Nobody likes someone like that. This is a fun word from Sundanese. It's when someone's face is just so annoying that you just want to punch it. Hijabokan. And okay, so if you're in the car on a road trip and you just gotta go really, really bad, it's called kabelet, right? And then when you finally get to the bathroom, there's a word for that. Ngaden. I don't remember if it's ngaden or ngaden. And then when you get out of the bathroom, you wash your hands and you see your best friend. What do? You take your hand and you wipe it on their shirt, right? That's called meper. So you have words for all of that. It can also mean when you pick your nose and wipe it on your friend, but that's not, don't do that. If someone has a round forehead, nong nong. Rugi, that's a hard phrase to explain. Like yesterday, yesterday I took the S-Bahn twice, right? And then we went to the Indonesian restaurant, so that meant another 2 more trips. If I knew that we were going to travel that much, I would have bought the day pass, but I bought 4 separate tickets, so I was rugi, so I lost money basically. Sepoi is when you're sitting on the beach and the wind flows over your legs. Yeah. Not just the beach. And an urban myth which is traveling over the internet in the polyglot world, I don't understand where from, but jayus. How many have seen this on like Memrise and people posting on Facebook? No? Ooh. You're gonna like Indonesia. You gotta get up with this slang. So jayus on the internet is described as when a joke is told so badly one cannot help but laugh. Unfortunately, that is false. Jayus is actually the name of, our urban legend says it's the name of a certain politician that always says things that are just not funny. But in Indonesian culture, everything can be funny. If I ask Maria why she's sitting in that particular chair, that can be a joke. But in English, it sounds like you're being aggressive and telling her to move. Right? So yeah, Indonesian is a fun language. A typical text. Take a look. So I will read this. So, hey bro, apa kabar? Baik-baik bro, lu gimana? Ya nih udah lama, gue lagi bingung mau kemana ntar malam sama cewek gue nih. Kalau main ke GI gimana? Jangan coy, mendingan gini, lu bawain dia ke pik aja. Oh iya bego, gua lupa. Wakakaka, that's how Indonesians laugh. They don't say lol, they say wakakaka. Makasih. Ya, Wallace bro, ntar kabarin gimana date-nya lu ya. Oh, sip bro, by the way, bet ulta ya. So you can guess. So what's interesting is that it's kind of like a Semitic language, right? It's like Arabic or Hebrew where you drop all the vowels and make the people guess. It's because in Indonesian, if you know the words, you will know everything. So, yes. So for instance, there are certain changes like bike becomes bike 2. It just means repeat. Let's see. Gua becomes GW. That's a new development. It's constantly changing, and depending on the way they type, you can tell what type of person they are. If they're a bit like trying too hard, or if they're not trying too hard, or if they're an adult and they just got into social media. And Indonesian grandmas, I think, are the only technologically advanced grandmas because they are always on Facebook. They're always playing. It's not Farmville, but there's a new version called Heyday or something like that. Like my grandmas are constantly playing games. And technology is not foreign to older people, but they do ask you for help every once in a while. But Indonesians in general, a lot of the Chinese ones in general tend to be a bit more well off, and so they'll have multiple phones. They'll have an iPad, they'll have a Samsung and an iPhone, depending on which country they're in, where they're going, what party they're doing. And this is English. So I'll give you a minute to read this and see if you can guess what these words are. If you can read it, apologies if it's too small. Good, that's one. Yeah. What is this one?
Oh my god, thank you.
No, this one.
I am married.
Yeah, I'm married today. It took me a while to figure it out because I was reading it with the Indonesian accent. Married was like, what's married? So I'm married today. Time to download. Everybody, I speak. And Indonesians type like this to be funny to each other. I don't know where it came from, but it's great. Good night, everyone. My brother is dead. Good luck, brother. Melbourne, Aussie. Melbourne, Australia. Babe, love you, babe. Happy birthday. Indonesians can't pronounce TH. So, back again to you guys. Indonesia needs you. It doesn't need polyglots that just want to get another language on their sticker, right? Or on their badge. We need people that are willing to come to Indonesia and make a difference, to grow these kids. There's so many kids that are in poverty, so many people. Kids playing soccer on the street, people that don't have anywhere to go, and then what happens? They go to gangs, or there's just a lot. They get into prostitution. You saw the photos earlier. And there is a group called Polyglot Indonesia, which I am quasi-representing today because none of them were able to make it. But there is a polyglot group of Indonesians that are very well versed in their languages. I'm actually quite surprised. A lot of them speak French amazingly well, speak English amazingly well, and there's a website. And so, before I end, I would like to play a piece on the guitar from Indonesia that my father arranged called Es Lilin, which means literally ice candle, which means popsicle. Sorry if you can't see me, I don't have a platform like the other room.
And now the case won't open.
So now, before I somewhat end the presentation, before the Q&A, there are some amazing resources and websites that you should check out. So if, like I mentioned, Polyglot Indonesia is a great community. They post articles, and if you are looking to find some more, go there. You can also send me an email or get my card later, and I can send you all these links as well, or even the PowerPoint itself. Indonesia Bagus. Unfortunately, they do not have English subtitles, but what it is it's a camera crew going across Indonesia and going to every province and every possible island they can visit and showing what is special of that region. And there is endless footage. And it's very, very well done, professional. Sasha Stevenson, so nobody has been to Indonesia yet, no? So if you don't know anything about Indonesian culture or are looking to know more, Sasha Stevenson is a Canadian that somehow went to Indonesia, married an Indonesian, and she presents videos such as how to be Indonesian, which are quite hilarious and pretty accurate. So even though she has a disclaimer at the beginning of each one that not everyone does this, obviously it's a cultural thing. Don't get offended, it's funny. Last Day Productions. If you do speak Indonesian or don't, there is also subtitles, and it's a couple of Chinese Indonesian students that make videos about Indonesian culture and just daily life things, such as 10 types of girls or 10 types of guys, or when your motorcycle is more important than your girlfriend or something like that. It's just funny Indonesian cultural things. Again, do not get offended. There's Indonesian Pod 101 as well, Indonesia, which is a website posting tourist information and stuff. Wonderful Indonesia, which is the official tourist website, and Damn I Love Indonesia, which is one of our national brands that is championing our people. So, thank you. So, Q&A now. Is there a second microphone somewhere?
No, I want to use the microphone. No, please use the microphone. You have to. I would like to ask, if we learn standard Indonesian, what is the chance that it will be useful if we go to Indonesia? Because you said that there are so much dialects and the colloquial is so different.
Okay, so who has been to an African country that speaks French or English before? Yeah, so if you go there, you know that there are many, many different languages, such as in Nigeria, there's over 200, right? But the lingua franca in Nigeria is English. So everyone that goes to school and has been educated will speak English. Same is the case in Indonesia. So everyone that is doing business will be able to speak Indonesian, even if maybe they were in the village all their lives. They still will be able to speak in some way because the similarity between languages. Standard Indonesian, it's very useful. Everyone you meet will talk.
I mean, just obviously, if we ask someone on the street something on the standard, of course he will repeat. But otherwise, aren't we supposed to feel like total strangers when the other people are talking between themselves? Are we going to understand something or completely nothing?
Unfortunately, Maria is also shaking her head at me. No, because not because you didn't learn properly. It's just that they're speaking a different form. It's not really dialectal. It's hard to describe. It's more social register. Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I can explain more later as well. But, yeah. So next question. It's okay. It's okay. Hit me.
Okay, so I was in the introduction to Indonesian, and I was the guy with the deer in the headlight look, but I didn't understand anything.
Right.
Possibly like slide 2. Sorry.
Finally, eventually?
Oh, eventually I got it, but I'm a bit slow. Anyway, so being a bit slow like me, how long do you reckon it would take somebody to get to a point where you could more or less go to Indonesia and have a conversation with people and sort of get along? I'm not talking.
What would you say?
B1, I would say maybe just more or less studying birds, like maybe 6 months.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah. Now Indonesians, if you meet an Indonesian on the street today, and you only remember one phrase. Sorry about the PowerPoint. If you only remember one phrase, and you tell them, let's say "Selamat sore" or something, they will jump for joy and tell you that you speak Indonesian and swear by it. For some reason, you know one phrase, you know everything, and they don't care how much English they speak with you afterwards. Yeah. So that's a cool thing. We're very open to that. Yeah. But that's the problem. They also love to speak English so that you can get into that expat trap, which is very common. Yeah. Next question.
Hi, I would like to know how different the formal and informal varieties of Indonesian are, and in what situations, like what contexts they are used.
So, okay, formal Indonesian is used in media, it's used in interviews, it's used in the newspaper, so if you want to read literature, and official meetings, things like that. So if you go to church, they'll speak in this language. Now, I have to be honest, actually, this should be off camera, but I don't actually speak Bahasa Baku very well. I speak colloquial sehari-hari Indonesian because it's hard to learn, actually. I have to be honest with you. But Bahasa Sehari-hari if you speak it, you can understand bahasa baku, but you can't speak it. It's kind of, I don't know. If you speak English, you can kind of read a scientific paper, even though you won't understand everything. You know the words, you recognize them. What was the other part of the question?
I was asking
What context?
what context, yeah.
Yeah, so
Do you speak the formal variety?
like I said, I don't. But I'm learning. But the bahasa sehari-hari, daily Indonesian is used across. So if you go to a restaurant, that's what you use. If you go anywhere, if you're looking to buy something, or if you just hang out with your family, friends, adults even, you can talk to them in that. It's not like in Korean where they have a completely different register. You just have to use much more formal words, and in Indonesian culture, you can't order adults around. You have to remember that you are younger than them. But one day you will also be older, so it's a cycle. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, Western people. Authority is not a bad thing. Next question.
Oh, one more thing. Like if I were to learn, what is it called? Bahasa sehari-hari right now. Would there be like written materials to find on the internet or something?
Asimil kind of does it, kind of. Yeah, Asimil was not bad. Colloquial Indonesian I've seen at my house. It was okay. But the best way to learn Indonesian is by speaking with people, and they are more than happy to answer all of your questions. Yeah.
Do you speak German? The one who asked? Do you speak German?
Yeah.
This is Kauderwelsch. You know Kauderwelsch? Kauderwelsch ist eine Reihe eine Phrasebooks. Und es gibt Kauderwelsch, Bahasa Sehari-hari Indonesia.
Okay.
Es gibt ein Kauderwelsch-Buch nur mit indonesischem Slang, komplett indonesischer Slang.
Yes, sort of the same thing, but so is it written? Is the
Yes.
colloquial? It is written.
That's the question I've gotten really often is even like, oh, you speak Indonesian, that's so exotic. What is it written in? It's written in the Latin alphabet. We don't have our own alphabet.
No, but I
But,
mean to the
yeah.
the informal.
The informal is written when you're texting your friends, when you're on Facebook, when it's not a formal situation. Yeah, when you're not.
But
at court.
otherwise, it's like Arabic. Everything's written in the formal register. Or
For media, yeah, for newspapers, for books, yeah.
What about schools?
Schools, yes, as well. But when they're with their friends, there's always the sehari-hari language. Like I said, you can understand the more formal because that's what you hear everywhere on TV and things. Yeah.
I actually had two questions.
Okay.
One of them is about Javanese. I know that Javanese has many speakers, yes? The first language speakers.
Yeah.
They all speak also Indonesian, all of these
Yes.
Javanese speakers? So there's no Javanese speaker who wouldn't know some Indonesian?
Unless they didn't go to school. If they went to school, they learned Indonesian.
Okay, so for business, it's definitely more Western. Okay. Second question, if I may, is it possible? I mean, it's a question of how tolerant a language culture is of different accents. For example, in Russian, they're quite tolerant of different kinds of accents, but in Polish, there's one way of speaking it, and you can easily stand out if you don't speak it exactly. You stand away. How is it with Indonesian? I imagine with so many different kinds of nationality within the country, different ethnic groups, that it must be fairly tolerant of people getting the accent not quite standard. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. Everyone sort of speaks their own dialect of Indonesian. Like I was hanging out with my cousin who's coming to Berlin tomorrow in Köthen, where he's studying, and there was some people from Papua there, and I had never heard the Papuan dialect. But what they do, Indonesians sometimes, to be friends, will learn their dialect. But they can speak ours as well. It's just, since that's where they're from, it makes them feel more comfortable.
So having a Western accent won't make you stand out that much, or an English-like accent.
They don't mind that.
Okay.
They find it cute, actually. Indonesians, yeah. Indonesians like bule. They really do. They will ask you for a photo. Yeah.
So we are all bule?
No. Only white skin. Yeah. Basically, I mean, we might call you Arab, probably. Yeah. Any other questions? No. 17,000 islands? No questions? Oh, okay.
Hi, selamat petang. I'm using a Malaysian word. I noticed that the Malaysians, we use the range between formal and informal is not as wide as Indonesian. So our spoken language is close to your written bahasa baku.
Yeah, right.
So we sound like pedantic old college professors when we speak Malay. Really, I'm serious.
Right.
So that's the main difference.
Right.
How fast is the slang evolving? Because some of the words you're using, I've never seen, never heard. I mean, is it do trends happen all the time, or is it because of movies, or is it because from music, or what are the the streams of change? It's very fast.
Yeah, to be very honest, this is odd. I think this is a phenomenon in the Philippines as well. But a lot of the slang words come from the homosexual community. Oddly enough. So who happen to be artists or whatever, so it spreads really quickly. Like Titi DJ originally was really like, their slang, and then it got adopted, but not everyone says it. If we say it, it's more of a joke. But it is constantly evolving, so every time I meet Indonesians, there's new words. But again, Indonesians will always explain it to you, so you don't have to be afraid. And me, like, I always miss words, but I just, and then I'll write it down on my phone, and then I'll look it up online. There are dictionaries for Bahasa Gaul online. Yeah. Knowing Indonesians is really important. There are tons of Indonesians throughout the world. There are 250 million of us. And, if anything, if you don't know anything about Islam, I'm not Muslim, but a great idea is to hang out with them on Ramadan. Go to an iftar dinner, which is what they do to break the fast, it's a great community event. Indonesians are all about food. All about food. Whether it be color, the food is evolving as fast as the language. I've seen things about burgers with green colored bread in Indonesia from my cousins, and we would never do that in the States. A burger's a burger, but they're always constantly changing. Yeah. That's it? Cool. So again, if you have any questions afterwards, or if you want to get some contact information, I have some cards as well, and don't ever hesitate to ask me a question while I'm here. So, thank you.